Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game and it's match preview of Manchester City against West Ham United. This should be a fun preview. I bet you're all wondering what we're predicting for our score, aren't you? Will it be 3-0 or 4-0? Gonzo, can you kick us off with your thoughts on the Citizens, please?
Yeah, they've done remarkably well this season, I think, Geo. I say remarkably well, but by their own lofty standards, probably not. They've just done as well as they probably should have done. But I think they've had some tweaks. They've had a real challenge this season. In fact, most seasons, City have had a challenge. I do remember Pep a little while ago saying that Liverpool made them. The Liverpool team under Klopp were a remarkable, and they were. Did they? City won. Did City win the league when Liverpool only lost one game or something like that?
Yeah, Liverpool had like the third highest points tally ever in the Premier League and finished second.
Yeah, that's right. And then I think last season City won the league, didn't they? But Liverpool contested every single game that was possible to play. So he was right. Liverpool were a remarkable team. This season it's been Arsenal who have really pushed them. I think, and yeah, I think City have been so generous as well to Newcastle by giving them their two best players, and also by giving them their manager as well. So it was very much a case of here you go, my lovelies. We're going to be short of a challenger this season, so have some players, have a manager, and then see if you can go on, hit me. Oh no, you missed. Oh no, you. And then it's just been a little bit of that really. One hand tied behind the back, saying, "Come on, hit me there." I wouldn't say Arsenal haven't laid a glove on City, but when it comes to the what Fergie used to always allude to as, you know, the sort of the big boy pants time, and he didn't ever say that, Fergie, but that sort of time in the season when it comes to the crunch, when it finds out, you know, if you've got the minerals, then City have really come through well. And I think they've transitioned incredibly well from having no striker to having a striker, and obviously it's one hell of a striker, and they're paying him an awful lot of money, Gio, an awful lot of money. I know people talk about the money that, you know, he didn't cost that much in transfer fees. As I understand it, he is on, I don't know, millions a month or something like that. He is the highest paid player in the Premier League, as I understand it. So, but nonetheless, I think they've done really well because they've seen off another rival this season.
Ooh, I do love the Haaland, John Stones bromance going on at the head-to-head, Gonzo. When the fans are singing Johnny Stones, Haaland's singing it and shouting it and cuddling John Stones. I think his dad's connection to the club's helped. But before he arrived in Premier League, I'd seen what he'd done for Dortmund, but that was on a football pitch. Couldn't tell you anything about his personality or anything. If anything, I've been surprised because when he has done interviews before, whether it be with Norway or Dortmund, and even at Man City at the start, he can be very cagey in them. He can be give like a one-word answer or something like that, and he almost comes across as quite rude. But I think it's just probably just his way of dealing with the media, because he probably doesn't trust the media. And said, "Now I know what you guys are like. I'm not dealing with this kind of thing," which I get, to be honest with you. I completely get it. But when you see him on the football pitch, you see him with fans, it's a completely different person to what you get in the interview, actually. And I've got all the time for somebody like that, to be honest with you. I think fair play. He's aware of what he's doing. I think City have been fantastic this season. World-class players, world-class manager, but that does not necessarily mean a winning recipe. Other things need to work. The way that Pep continuously evolves this team, the formations, the way that John Stones has been moved into midfield, I think it's been tremendous. When other clubs are working out what Man City have done in order to play against Man City and to copy Man City, Pep's on to the next thing. He's moving on to another way of tweaking that system. And even now, you see them, they haven't been playing with the right back for a little while because Ake's been on the left, and then Ake's out. Okay, Kyle Walker goes back in now. We just don't play with the left back. Hang on a minute. It's just the way they're able to switch just like that. And every player knows their role and stuff. It's a wonderfully run club, and a wonderfully run club. That's the one. And I think you're completely right in regards to what something Ferguson said. Ferguson always said it's easier to do the chasing. Easier to do the chasing than it is to like maintain your lead. So when you're being chased, that's when it's difficult. Yeah. And I think with Arsenal at the start of the season, because the expectation was you challenge for the top four. Hey, look what we're doing. We're up here, no pressure. And then, like you said, it gets to the business end. Now there's pressure on Arsenal, and they're struggling with it. Whereas Man City are flourishing. The more pressure, the better, as far as they're concerned. Obviously, the title, I know what you're going to say, but what about the Champions League? Do you reckon they're going to win 1, 2, or no trophies this season.
Well, yeah. So title. Who they play? Man United in the cup. In the cup final.
Yes.
Yeah. So
because there's this debate at the minute because they play each other in the FA Cup final and the train strikes are that weekend, and obviously both Manchester clubs are trying to get to London.
Preposterous. Ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's a difficult one for the Man City fans.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So I think, yes, I think they win that. They beat Man United. Obviously win the league. That's Real Madrid, isn't it? That's the trouble, Geo. That's the trouble. Like this habit of winning. Winning is a habit when it's in the blood. You know. They weren't the best team. Seen a lot of people dissect that final one against Liverpool, but I think some people overcomplicated. Courtois was the man of the match by some distance. Otherwise, Liverpool win that final. Yeah, that's just a habit of win. Basically, the habit of Real Madrid superseded the fact that Liverpool were the better team. And I think they've just got that. Whatever it is, it doesn't seem to matter how old their players get or whatever. We're having a little dip and they haven't bought anyone, haven't bought the world's most expensive player. Geezer went mental. Was it Perez? I think Florentino Perez went crazy because Mbappe dared not to join Real Madrid. Basically, they tried to report PSG for financial irregularities or whatever. So even when they don't get the best player in the world, whatever you perceive the best player in the world to be, they still manage to do it. I think it's going to be very, very tough for them, Gio, to win that. I really hope they do, though. I really do.
Why do you? Because you're normally quite anti-Man City because you don't like you find it boring, which I understand. You don't like the lack of competition in the Premier League, or is it because they've never won the Champions League? You're okay with them winning that?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, we've all got our contradictions, haven't we? And I'm no different. It's not I don't like Man City. I do like them, and I do like their fans. I really like Pep as well. There's a lot to like about them. I'm jealous of the money, and if I'm perfectly honest, I wish West Ham had a bit of money. That being said, David Moyes only wasted it anyways. You might as well keep it, Man City.
Well, he didn't want Alvarez, did he?
He didn't want Alvarez. And let's be fair, he would have looked at Haaland and thought, all right, Joe, he could be a centre back. So don't worry. Honestly, don't worry about it. There's no way. I'll tell you now. There's no way De Bruyne gets in to a David Moyes team. But anyway, that's a conversation for a different day. Why would you when you can play Big Sue? Hey, Big Sue or Kevin De Bruyne? No competition. I hate the monopoly of anyone, and it doesn't matter whether it's the Formula One, and you summed it up really well. And Formula One have done it. Oh, Lewis Hamilton keeps winning every year. Let's change it. We're going to change things around. Oh, brilliant! Now you've got somebody else who's just going to win it every year. All right, it does bore me. That being said, for this season, I couldn't bring myself for Arteta because of the way he is, and the Arsenal fans, if the truth be known, not that nice one who donated a tenner, by the way, in the live chat. We liked him; he was nice. Not all Arsenal fans, but in the main, my goodness, the way they carry on and all the rest of it. And Arteta, do you know what? I think I'd actually just one more year for City to win it. I don't think it's healthy. I think it's important. I don't think it's healthy. Been healthy for the Bundesliga. Bayern Munich winning it 10 years in a row. We like to think, and I was going to say we like to think in England anyone can beat anyone. Do you know what? Fulham nearly did. Fulham gave them a good go the other day. With the Champions League, yes, I want them to win it. I want Pep to win it because I like him because he's nice. So it's not just I dislike Arteta because he's horrible. I like people that are nice by the same, and he didn't win it at Bayern Munich, and I would, so he deserves it. He's done so much for football, he really has. And you may well find in years to come that actually Pep has done quite a lot for English football, and players that have come through Man City maybe go and contribute a lot to the English national team. I wish them luck, I really do. But excuse me, I think it's going to be hard for them against Real Madrid.
I agree. I think they'll win the title in the FA Cup, and I hope they win the Champions League as well. They're the only English club I hope do well in European football, and I think it's because of the fan base. To be honest with you, I think it's just because of Man City fans. I've got no negative feeling towards their club, and they deserve it to some extent because they've been through the tough times with that club, and they've stuck by the club, and now they're enjoying the journey they're on at the minute. And there's an element of me, I want to see what happens next if Pep wins the Champions League, Man City. Probably nothing, but while he hasn't won it, I do think that I feel like he'll stay there because he needs to win that trophy with Man City. But if he does win it, is he going to decide, I'm going to go challenge myself? I'm going to go to another league and have a different challenge with a different club? You know, he looks like he's at home at Man City. It's his club. But I do think, there's a little small part of me, just a little bit curious as to if he was to finally get it, is he now going to say, well, I've done all I can here. I've won everything. Time for a new challenge.
Can we go off track a little bit for once? All right.
Yeah.
Now, I know sometimes you play FIFA, right? It doesn't have to be FIFA. It can be like the Football Manager, Championship Manager, whatever it is. Do you ever sometimes drop down a league? Do you ever go to a championship club?
Yeah. I haven't played this FIFA. I did for the first couple of months. I gave up on it, but I got into Football Manager during the World Cup break. I played Football Manager for the first time in ages. And I was applying for jobs in the Championship as manager of West Ham, just for a little bit of banter. Just that I'll try and get them promoted.
Did you get one?
Yeah.
Where did you end up?
Everton, because they got relegated.
Did you? Okay.
Have a bit of that.
Okay. Well, it's interesting because I do wonder, because there's that thing, Pep's always got the money, or at Barcelona he had Lionel Messi, he's always got the money. I have often wondered, and I will be honest to say, I do wonder if he'd like to come to West Ham. I have done that. I have thought that in my mind. And I'm sure if I have, other people must have done as well. I can't be the only lunatic around here. But I do sort of wonder, even if it's not West Ham, if he does sometimes, there's that bit in him, that thing that when you're playing whatever Football Manager or whatever makes you think, do you know what? I want to fancy a go at Port Vale, actually. And it just to make him go down there and say, well, actually, if I can find a club with a good ethos, with a good backing behind it, doesn't have the most money, but good talent, a good academy.
What, Wrexham?
It's too far, isn't it? No, I do mean a championship club, probably, or even a Premier League club, a Brentford. What could Pep do at Brentford or Brighton? And that I would find very interesting. I do wonder if one day he might challenge himself in that way. Just go, do you know what? Just to show you, it's not all about the money. Going to do something like that. Anyway, sorry, off tangent.
I'd like it as well. There's always that hypothetical debate, isn't it? Yeah. Who would do better, like Pep at West Ham or David Moyes at Man City? Which I think we know the answer to that, but you know what I mean, though. You get the hypothetical question. Final question. I mean, there's quite a few, but just pick out 2 or 3 players you admire, please.
Sorry. So I'm just imagining Man City playing for a draw at the Etihad against Chelsea.
Roy, you can't start because you're not tall enough for set pieces.
That's right. Sorry. That's right. Anyway, players I admire. Yeah, I'd love Cancelo. Thought the way he handled that was brilliant. And with no loss of, it was one of my favourite players there. With no loss of potency, I think he's done brilliantly there. Kevin De Bruyne is purring at the moment, right? He is really playing well. Really playing well. Yeah. I mean, you're right. John Stones looks a different player at the moment. Funny enough, you mentioned him earlier as well. Grealish is... It's funny to watch that. So I think at the start of the season, it was more Foden, very much playing on the left. And he actually struck up a good partnership with Haaland, actually, Foden. And now Foden's found his way out the team, which I don't think is a problem at Man City. Don't worry about it. I'd say don't worry about it. There'll be a point when you're the favourite again, because that's just what he does. He does rotate his players well, funnily enough. It's a hot topic at the moment. But I think Grealish is a really good form. And I've got to say, guilty pleasure, I really like Jack Grealish. I don't just like him as a player. I really like him. I didn't realise, I was watching something a little while ago. His sister's got cerebral palsy. And there's a lot of stuff that he does with that and with that charity. And it's not just public and the rest of it. And actually seeing some of the video and seeing how he interacts with other people just how he's just got it. He seems like a really really good guy, and how he deals with the people with cerebral palsy and whatnot is absolutely brilliant. Does loads of good work, but also he's got that little edge. So he's a cheeky chappy, So he won't, he's not adverse to going out for a night on the bevies and ending up in a brothel. So I think he's got all bases covered. Quite frankly, I think he's got a bit of cheeky chappy, lovely guy, and a really good footballer.
Yeah, I love Jack Grealish. I think sometimes we can compress players' personalities quite a lot, and Grealish almost just bucks the trend a little bit, which is, no, I am going to get pissed, and you're going to see me doing the trophy parade at the end of the season when my hair is everywhere and I'm absolutely smashed and Kyle Walker's smashed and we're just having a bloody good time. And I quite like that. It just reminds you that they are still human, that they still have fun, and they're not all this robotic thing that we've tried to create in football where you must mind your P's and Q's, must be on your best behaviour. And I know they're idols, I know people look up to them, but I do think sometimes actually it goes a little bit too far. I just love Grealish. In terms of players, John Stones, I think, has been tremendous. One of England's best players now, I think. I think he's always been England's best centre-back, but the way he's played this new role is just sensational. I think I've always felt England, when it comes to like how many world-class players do England actually have, and I've always been quite reluctant to say a large number. I've always thought Harry Kane for sure. And then after that, you're sort of thinking, well, is there anyone else kind of thing you can put in that bracket? And at times, I think players go through purple patches where you could say, yeah, this player is. And, I put Declan Rice in there. I put Jude Bellingham in there now. But I do think I put John Stones in there as well. I just think he's an incredible footballer. I think Nathan Ake has probably been the player that's impressed me most from Man City this season. I think he's been pivotal to the way they've played, the way they've played like a left back without having a left back, which allows them not to have a right back. It gets a bit complicated, doesn't it? And Gundogan, I think, is one of City's underrated players. I expect he's off in the summer, and I think they'll really miss him. I'm intrigued to see how Man City do this in the summer because he could be away. Bernardo Silva's been wanting to perhaps leave for a little while, so if he's off as well, I mean, that's two big players to lose. Mahrez is getting on a little bit. I think Foden's a funny one. I feel like he's faltering a little bit this season. He's not been as good as I expected. He's got loads of talent, but he's barely played, and he comes on for 5-10 minutes here and there at the moment. And you're like, what's going on there? Why is that not quite worked out for him? What's happened? Because Pep gives youth a chance at Man City. You talk about Cancelo, he let him go and replaced him essentially with Rico Lewis. That was his name, wasn't it? Rico Lewis?
Yes.
Yeah, she brought him in and said, there's the replacement. We'll take him out of the academy. Now, he at the minute hasn't been playing, but the point was, Pep, for all the money he spends, he's happy to give one of the youngsters a chance. Cole Palmer often come off the bench for Man City as well and stuff. So anyway, lots of players there. Shall we talk about our players?
Yes, I should probably say allegedly down the brothel as well. And it was a joke. He probably don't need to pay for hanky panky, Jack. So it was just a joke. I like him. Very nice. Please don't take Hammers Chat to court.
I think you'll get it as a joke. I think Jack Grealish would see the funny side of it.
I like him. We like him.
As for West Ham, two players missing. Gianluca Scamacca is obviously out injured, although he's been teasing on social media a little bit that he could perhaps return before the end of the season. And Kurt Zuma is expected to miss this game and possibly a few other games as well. But I think it's safe to assume we do not have Kurt Zuma available for selection in this one. He was seen leaving Selhurst Park with a protective boot on. So we'll wait for more news on that one. So, Gonzo, I mean, we know the topic of discussion, squad rotation. Man City have got the same topic, though. I think against Fulham, I thought some of their players were looking tired as well. They've got the Champions League next week. And tomorrow night, Arsenal play Chelsea. So should Chelsea somehow win, which is not going to happen, suddenly Man City might be thinking, hang on a minute, we can maybe rotate against West Ham here. But, I mean, this is difficult, isn't it? So the team you're away to hear from me and Gonzo is what we would like to see, not what we think David Moyes would do. That's a different conversation for a different day. Right, Gonzo, let's see the team you would like to see. What are you saying?
Okay, this has not been easy to make this team. Let me just say that. The reason for doing it is our players are knackered. Are knackered. If he plays the same team again, I expect to see someone else go down with some other injury or whatever. I really do. So I'm not saying everyone in this team is brilliant or anything like that. I just can't see any other way of doing it, really. Well, apart from whatever Geo suggests. Areola in goal.
Yeah, I agree.
Johnson at right back. Kehrer and a Gerd as I thought about playing Ogbonna in there. Just Ogbonna against Haaland is not nice, not a nice thought actually. And then I play Emerson at left back for sort of similar reasons really. Midfield's tough. I've scribbled out so many times hard to read what I've actually written. I've poor old Potts. I've written him down twice and scribbled him out twice. So I'm going to go with in a midfield 3. Oh, sorry. Anyway, no, you do your back 4. Sorry, I've done it wrong.
I've gone back 5 actually.
Yeah.
I just can't put Ben Johnson in, Gonzo. He's.
Yeah.
I feel so bad. Like this is where we should be using him. He's been left out the squad. He's not even been on the bench the last couple of games, and before that, he had that horrific game against whoever it was. It was a European match. He was just absolutely dreadful. He got ripped apart against Brighton before that.
First league.
He's been in horrendous form recently when he has played, and then when he's not been played, he's not even been in this squad. Moyes has managed him really badly. I think there's been 1 or 2 games where we could have perhaps gave him minutes and we didn't. I'm not sure we can use him again. At some point, we're going to have to. But honestly, I've got to the point where unless we are safe and it's a nothing game, I'm almost looking at next season thinking that's when we can use Ben Johnson again. I just think he looks like a shell of a footballer at the minute. And I think he'd get ripped apart. And you're putting him at right back there up against Jack Grealish possibly. And he'll just get murdered, Gonzo. He will. I think so. I don't want to play him, but I put Soufal at right wing back. I'm going with a back 5 for this one. You can get the idea. But I don't want to play Soufal, but I feel like there's no other option. We have to play him. It's back 3, Kerr, Ogbonna and Creswell. And then Emerson left wing back. And I'm not very happy about it, but I just... No Zuma. I get your point about Ogbonna, by the way. I completely agree, but it's just a case of needs must. And I think Ogurd's been... He might be able to keep up with Haaland, but the problem is you also give the ball to Haaland. He was at fault. He had a part to play in all 4 goals we conceded against Crystal Palace.
For sure.
He's in stinking form sometimes as well. I mean, this is bad, this. But Kerr's in good, was in decent nick. Again, I think he's been a bit mismanaged, but hopefully he's up for it. Creswell's been in good form. Emerson... I don't know what happened to him, but put him left wing back, put him in that role that he was impressing us in rather than it. I've always been suspicious about him as a conventional left back, as you know. So get him out of there and put him back into that wing back where he has actually looked quite good. So that's my back 5, but I'm not very happy with it, Gonzo, but it's needs must.
No, I'm not happy with it either. I mean, it's hard to know. It's hard to know what to say. He's screwed up so monumentally, Moyes. He really has by not in one of those. I didn't really care which one it was, to be fair. I thought Liverpool was probably the one to do it.
Yeah, 100%.
But by not resting in one of those games and giving our players a rest, he has now put us in this position where we're both scratching around and picking a team. Geo, do you know what the thing is? And this is what really annoys me about this. And I know I've spoken about it a lot, about the 1,000 games and the experience and the benefit of experience. David Moyes can't even remember what's happened last year, so he can't even draw an experience of last year. Never mind 1,000 games ago, and he's put himself in exactly the same position, and I'm really, really agitated about it actually. So I've tried to keep as many players out of the team as I possibly can. You can't keep everyone out.
No, I agree with this. I've got one player that I don't want to play, but
so I've got Rice in there. But only because that's why I've crossed Potts out there. You probably can't in central midfield. So I've got Downs, Rice, and Lanzini in central midfield.
I've got the same 3, Gonzo. I think the problem with Rice is he can't play. He's knackered, but we can't play without him.
No,
we'll just get ripped apart. We're going to struggle as it is. So if you take out our best player, the guy that might protect that defence, which is going to be vulnerable at best anyway, I think you're asking for chaos, actually. You're asking for City to just tear you into pieces. So I think Rice has to play, unfortunately. And this poses a problem because it's a case of, well, when are we going to rest him? Because we'll have the same issue for the next game against Man U, and then we're into the European game. So,
well, there you go. We both picked the same ones there. Obviously, you don't have a front 3, but my front 3 are Fornals, Mubama, and Cornet. Fornals on the right.
Just fresh legs, resting, Bowen and Antonio.
We need to rest. They will run us. They will run a mock. They will. Funny enough, at the start of this one, we at the start of this video we spoke about Football Manager and stuff like that. They've got a couple of really quick players. In fact, my son has just signed one for his game, for his team on the old console. Kirkaz, his name is, plays for Alkmaar. Quick as pants. Quick as pants. Well, at least on the computer he is anyway. But but what it doesn't do, they're quite good. All these Football Manager and stuff. They don't take a slow player and make him quick. They're quite reflective. If we don't go into that game a little bit fresh, then we're going to lose against Man City anyway. And so what? I don't know what the stats are now, but whether it was earlier on the season, 70 odd games. David Moyes hadn't gone away and won against a top Sky Sports top.
He has won away to Man City before. But that was pre-takeover and stuff.
What do you mean pre-takeover? Oh, yeah. But yes, okay. Before they were a rich club,
he beat them the first 3 games after the takeover. He won those as well with Everton. But it's been a long time since he won at Man City. That 70 games relates only to Man United, Liverpool, and Arsenal. I see people say it's all 6. It's not all 6. He's won at Tottenham before. He's won at Chelsea before, and he's won at Man City before, but there's sort of factors within there.
Yeah. So I mean, I can't see a way for us to win this game really. So I just really do think if he can get a system going whereby he can try and mitigate our losses somewhat, but also rest some players so we do at least be able to have. We had an advantage, Gio. We had an advantage, and it's really. And that's in terms of the gap between us and the relegation places. It's really important that we try and get some benefit from having that in terms of freshness in the legs for the run in. Really, it's going to be really weird for Man City fans if any of them watch this video. They're probably going to think, what are they going on about? But yeah.
They get it. Man City fans will get it. They're in the same situation. Rodri looked tired against Fulham. Gundogan looked tired. Grealish looked a little bit tired as well. They need to rotate as well. They've now got Champions League a week after they play us. They play us Wednesday. They play Champions League on Tuesday. So they've got 6 days. And in between, they've got Leeds United, a home game, which helps. But they've got Leeds at the weekend as well. So I expect some rotation from Pep or early substitutions. I think he'll be keen to get the players I've mentioned, Rodri, Grealish, Gundogan and Haaland. I think he'll be keen to rest them, possibly John Stones as well. I think Pep will be quite one eye on that Champions League. They're in a nice little position at the minute, which is a game in hand and top of the Premier League. Obviously, this is prior to the Chelsea-Arsenal game, so Arsenal may go above them, but they'll have 2 games in hand, and you'd imagine they're going to go on and win the title. So City need to rotate. So there's a possibility we will see, I don't know, Bernardo Silva will probably start because he didn't start against Fulham. We might see Calvin Phillips come into the team or something. We might see small rotation from them, but they'll City fans listening to this Gonzo will get it. They will say, yeah, we get it. We're tired as well. I've gone with 2 up front, obviously, because I've gone with a back 5, Kone and Mubama. And it's just for pace, directness, just get the ball in. And I hate using this phrase, but just literally just hoof it. Just get the ball and belt it and just hope that they can do something with it. Like Fulham caused some problems when they went direct. Their goal came from a long ball. Wilson nodded down and Vinicius scored. And simple, bang, there you go. Because City will commit players forward. The Kanji will drift out to cover the left space and Diaz will sit in the middle. But again, there's another Diaz. He's another player that needs a rest at Man City. So Laporte might come in for this one. So yeah, I mean, I'm not happy with my 11, Gonzo. But it's like...
Now what can you do?
I'm worried he's going to play the first 11.
Of course. He doesn't. We're all looking for things in that post-match press conference that indicated that he knew what the problem was. He doesn't. As I say, he's forgotten. This infuriates me. He's forgotten the lessons of last year. That's what I say. Forget the 1,000 games experience. Can't remember 12 months ago. Well, 10 months ago. He can't remember it. And so he's in that press conference. Does not allude to the fact that actually he's picked the players too many times. He's got what he wanted. He's got his squad, and he's just not using it. So I think it's the same as well. Now, the other thing is, I don't know why I heard. I listen to more radio at the moment than maybe I did a year ago. So Marco Silva said before the Man City game that he was going to try a few things tactically to try and combat the way Man City were playing, particularly their use of John Stone. So he was going to tactically and try and address a couple of things. So he was going to change the system slightly. I mean, and I listened to him saying it. I thought, wow, you know. Do you remember listening to Moyes after we played Man City in the first game of the season? And we did the video and we said they're going to do something funky with the fullbacks here. We didn't know what they were, but it's not our job to know what they were, right? It's going to do something funky with the fullbacks. And remember David Moyes afterwards, he was completely surprised. We got our pants pulled down, our bum smacked in that game. And David Moyes came out after. He said, I didn't, what did he say? I couldn't work out. They were doing something with the fullbacks. I couldn't work out what they were doing. Man City, a very hard team to play against. And I factored that and he popped into my mind when I was listening to Marco Silva talk on the radio doing the interview. I thought, oh man, you know, this is chalk and cheese here. So I would like to think that David Moyes has got that. I'd like to think that he's had a look at whatever Marco Silva did, because it was a close game. It was not an easy game for Man City. So I would like to think that maybe we can do something out of that. But even if he does, I still think there's going to be an inclination for him to play all those players again. And it's a hard watch with West Ham at the most. I think the thing is, just what's been so hard for me is to see us recover, get ourselves in a good position. Right, okay, now we're there. Now we got ourselves in that good position, and then sort of surrender the advantage.
Yeah, we created an opportunity, didn't take it. We now lost the opportunity. Now that's what we've done. It's oh god, it's a bit of a negative question, but it's my honest thoughts, and I've got a feeling I know your answer. But is this game about protecting the goal difference ultimately?
Yeah, I would think so. Yes, because that is an extra point for us, really. And I think maybe, I don't mean there'll be no gentleman's agreement. Of course not. But I think Man City would be happy just to take the win. So you say they have leads after that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good. Arsenal would not have liked that when they looked at Man City. They would have seen Man City run a games, Fulham, West Ham, Leeds. Arsenal would have thought, oh, God. You know. So actually, just a win, just the 3 points is enough for Man City. And West Ham, just the no points is enough for West Ham, as long as we don't get -5 goal difference. So, yeah, protect the goal difference would be a good thing. So I mean, maybe he may well go your way. By the way, I think he may well go 3.
I think he'll go to 3 at the back. I think he will. I'll be surprised if he doesn't. I think we will see the wing backs coming back, and us. But you know, my biggest worry. Actually, it is a big worry. I think we'll see Ings up front, which will just kill anything. You're going to go Man City, you've got to be able to go direct and go with a little bit of pace. And I think he'll play Ings to protect Antonio, and it just kills anything. He could get his tactics right. Moyes could get his tactics right. But if Ings plays, the tactics are null and void because you cannot do them because...
Yeah, tactics right, personnel wrong. Yeah.
So you've got to do both parts here.
Go on, ask.
Do you have any optimism?
No, none at all. None at all. I'm not even looking forward to it. It's I'm dreading it. Actually, it seems like something we have to get through in order to get towards maybe the more juicier bits of the season. You know, to get towards the semi-final and Brentford and stuff like that. No, this game in particular, they're in a completely different class to us. The thing is, we might have had a chance against Man City. We might, if they look as tired as they did against Fulham, and we had as much energy as we did against Arsenal.
Yeah.
But if you look at that game against Arsenal, I know I've made the point. I know I'm aware I'm repeating myself, just on the off chance there are some people watching this who might have not have heard the previous video. Against Arsenal, Declan Rice won the ball back within the first couple of seconds. That's also how we got the goal back, where Paqueta and Ben Rama got the penalty, and we kept on snapping back. We were really pressing from the front. We were winning the ball back off of their defenders and off of their midfielders. And again, we did it as well, but it was a little bit less. Then we got to Bournemouth. We still won, but the pressing, we were only pressing in our half. We'd stopped pressing in the opposition's half. We then got back to, obviously, the most recent game, we weren't pressing at all. So if we were in full Arsenal mode with all that energy, we might have had a chance. But we don't. That energy's gone now because we've been rinsed, basically, because there's been no rotation of there's been no rotation in the high energy positions. That's the issue, which is the high energy positions. I'm talking about central midfield and up front. Those are the high energy positions because those are the guys that really the forwards got to press hard and nick the ball, and then obviously the midfielders have got to come from deep and get into the opposition half and go nick the ball like you saw Rice and like you saw Paqueta doing. They haven't got the legs for it anymore because they're absolutely cream crackered. So no, I can't see any way. That's the only way we could have done anything, and that's gone now, I think.
I've got no optimism for any team taking points off Man City. Man City could play anyone on Wednesday, and I would be predicting a Man City win. So it's not just a West Ham thing; it's a Man City thing, but it is a West Ham thing too. You take our starting 11 against Crystal Palace, and you remove our best defender in Kurt Zouma, and you remove even more energy out of that starting 11, and that's what we've got going up to the Etihad. It's not a good combination. Do I have confidence in us getting the tactics right? No. Do I have confidence in the personnel being right? No. I don't have much confidence at all in anything going into this game, to be honest with you. I'm actually dreading the lineup coming out.
Yeah.
And normally I get a little bit nervous thinking, I hope he's got the right team or whatever. And I haven't felt like that all the time this last month or so because we've been in good form. We had 1 loss in 10 going into the Liverpool game. We were in decent nick. So actually I was quite laid back for things like that. But I'm actually dreading it now because if I see Rice, Souček and Paqueta midfield, Antonio up front, I'm just going to think, well, it's not just the Man City game. I'm going to think, well, I might as well write off the Man United game on Sunday as well. Then you start thinking so far ahead, and then you start thinking, well, write off the semi-final too because these boys can't do this. My only hope is, and this is where sometimes managers' words come back to bite them in the arse a little bit. And Moyes often speaks about the days between games. It infuriates me. It really does because he complains about being in European football. He said, you play Thursday, Sunday. Yeah, but a Champions League club playing Wednesday, Saturday has the same rest period. But anyway, he keeps going on about it. I don't get it, right? But he said it for the Crystal Palace game. After the game, we were doing win the first ball or the second ball. He said, Crystal Palace played Tuesday, we played Wednesday, so they had an extra day's rest. Well, okay then, Dave.
Yeah. Well,
we played Saturday in the early kickoff. Man City played Sunday. So we've now had an extra day's rest.
Yeah.
So that means we are going to be more energetic than them, does it? Because that's why you're suggesting that we were a little bit slower against Crystal Palace because they had that extra 24 hours grace. Well, we've now got that benefit on our side. In fact, we've got more than that because we were early kickoff on Saturday afternoon. So by your own admission, we should expect an energetic West Ham on Wednesday, but he won't. That argument when it's in his favour soon disappears. It's no longer no longer going to say, well, we had the extra rest, so we should have that benefit. That will disappear. This argument will be gone when we play Man United. We play Man City Wednesday, Man United play Thursday, and then we play Man U Sunday. We still have an extra day's rest on our next opponent. So let's see your words. Let's reap the benefits from your own conclusions. So anyway, can I get any final words in your score prediction, please?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Don't know about fun. There's going to be people watching this thinking it's a very, very negative preview, and it is. And
it's an honest preview.
It is. And don't get me wrong. If we had the honest opinion, had the opposite opinion, we'd say it. And if you think we're being overly negative, then tell us why we're going to win in the comments section. Tell us why you think we're wrong. Absolutely. But that being said, I don't think it will be a massive pummeling because I do believe that we will protect the goal difference. I think you might find they keep the score down to sort of 2 or 3-0. Really,
I think 2-0. I think it'll be a boring game. Actually, I actually think if you offered Pep 2-0 right now, he'd take it. And I think if you offered Moyes 2-0 right now, I think he'd take it as well.
I think Pep would take 1-0.
Yeah,
he just wants to win. Yes,
yeah, and I think Moyes would take 2-0 as well. Moyes says, "Yeah, okay, we'll have that, and we'll move on to the next one," kind of thing. I think it'll be a game where we are protecting it, and I think like I said, Man City will either rotate for the start of the game, or if they do play the big boys, I was surprised to see Haaland get 90 minutes against Fulham, but there was only 1 goal in it. You couldn't really afford to take him off. Yeah. But I imagine if they go 2-0 up or 3-0 up, like you suggest, I think you'll see the big boys coming off quick. And it'll be very similar to what they did against Leicester City. They went in at half-time 3-0 up, did the subs, and they technically lost the second half 1-0, but that was okay. They just tried to keep the ball as much as they could. So anyway, there you go. There's our honest and negative preview. If you've enjoyed it, please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up underneath the video. Subscribe if you're new to Hammers. Chat myself and Gonzo. Catch you in a bit.